What does taking play seriously really mean? Well, looking at the research and different facilities that I've worked on over the years, there's plenty of people who study this and say, look, it's really important for us as humans, as animals, to play, to interact, to learn lessons about life through activities, through physical activities, both the way that we interact with other people, the way that we learn about resiliency, and these lessons that all of us who've ever done anything, even at the most sort of junior level, have inevitably felt, both good and bad. I mean, that's part of it, is winning and losing, probably losing more than winning, more importantly. And the problem, though, is that a lot of the time it ends up being a result where people say, it's important, but it's tough to fit it in, or it's something that, yes, we need to make sure our kids keep doing in school. It's not necessarily something that is brought to how we can engage it more as we get older. How can we engage this more in terms of just having it as more of a part of our life? So when I talk about taking play seriously, what I'm really getting at is like, what are the whys of this? And it, at the very highest level, these things often start as something that we have fun with. We get into climbing or skateboarding or, pickleball or whatever it is, even running, whatever it is, because it's something fun. We get some enjoyment out of it. And very quickly, if you're sticking with it, it often creates a deeper connection, both in terms of you're using your body, you're meeting new people, you're starting to engage with nature if you're outside. Like, it starts to create this connection that, you hear people who are passionate about what they do, and they'll talk about it in like the deepest possible way, where, it starts to become this part of their life. Again, yoga, whatever it is. And honestly, to me, this isn't necessarily about the physical body only, but I'm just going to talk about it in that regard for this purpose. And very quickly, these activities, these ways of playing, take us places we haven't imagined, whether it's both internally or physically around the world. There's plenty of stories of people who have changed their life situation dramatically by engaging in activities in a serious way, whether it's professional athletes or even people just traveling the world, sort of barbarian days style, looking for surf or like whatever it is. These places, these things, these activities become the vehicle that can take us to places we really haven't imagined, both internally and physically around the world. And that's how they become this vehicle for self-discovery and mastery, because very quickly, as you practice really anything, you realize that very quickly it becomes a mind game. And that if you can work on your mind, it becomes the fastest way to improve. Because if you can be the strongest person, but if you're not applying your strength in the right way and at the right time with the right intent, it's not necessarily going to help you as much as it should. And that's where, self-discovery and mastering that becomes really important. And these are lessons that I know personally I apply to my business. The lessons I've learned through climbing and surfing and skiing, these are lessons that apply to my business as much as they do to those individual sports. And even the way that I talk about, life with my kids, for that matter. And for a lot of us in that way, these activities, these activities of play that, you know, kids can do, adults can do, whatever it is, they often become the reason we really choose to live. So for instance, not just sitting back and sort of letting life happen to you, but really choosing to engage life, choosing to get enough sleep, to eat better, to travel the world, to spend your time and money traveling, to go and see new things, to get better, to really engage that mastery. And these activities become things that we can fixate on in very positive ways, because for a lot of us, these activities are really the thing that we can center our life around. And without them, you might feel like you're floating. You might feel different degrees of depression. You might be feeling like you just don't really know what to do with yourself. And frankly, these things become far more important than just how you spend your time. They become this thing that you can attach yourself to and fixate on in a positive and productive way. And that definitely ripples out far beyond the activity itself. So these are the whys of play to me. They're far more deeper than the fact that it's fun. That's part of it, and that's sort of the hook. But it becomes much more about these things being the activities. Play is the vehicle for us to learn about ourselves, to become better people, to challenge ourselves, to travel the world, to see new things, and to share, a better version of ourselves with the people around us. And so that's what I mean when I talk about taking play seriously, because to me, it's really as serious as it gets. It's really life and death for some people. Some people without this may choose not to live. I mean, or not to live as much of an engaged life. And I'm saying that, and knowing that other people out there feel that way. And so for us, for a lot of us, it happens in places like this. It happens in climbing gyms. It happens in skate parks. It happens in places where we can play pickleball, different racket sports, climbing gyms, whatever the case might be. This is where we play. This is where we learn about ourselves and get to interact with each other. So in order to do this and take it seriously, we have to be careful because we can't be too attached and we can't be indifferent to something that we love like this. So to create businesses around these things, to take it seriously, it really does come down to a Goldilocks situation where you want the thing to be the right style for you, depending on what your vision is and what your attraction is and what the vision is that you want to share with other people. And that's really what I'm talking about when I talk about combining business and play with the building itself for the environment that we are trying to turn into this space for play, the place where all of this gets to happen. And this is really what it's all about to me, which is this Alan Watts quote that is, quote, "This is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you're doing in the here and now, and instead of calling it work, realize it's play." And that's really what it is all about to me, is that rather than spending our time, working, it's really about finding a way to share these things that have become so important to us, so passionate and part of our lives, part of the reason we choose to live an engaged life, and building businesses and building the way we spend our time around that in a way that is a positive business in terms of it's sustainable, it's making enough money, whether you're a for-profit or a nonprofit, whatever it is, it's a sustainable business that has outreach that is remarkably potent and is based in things that we love and that we've experienced. And the people who I work with, regardless of what that activity is, that's why they're doing it, is because these things have changed their lives and they want to spend as much time as possible focused on that. And so as we all get older, it becomes less about free soloing and more about how can I do this in other ways. And so for me, that's really become what my business is about, is helping people bring their visions to life. But that's why, is because it is a serious endeavor. And that's why this is really just about taking play seriously. So I hope that's helpful. And please reach out if you'd like to talk. Thanks.